This week on The Startup Life.
It took over like 10 years to actually compile these recipes and get them to where now we have something we can put into a cookbook, which my aunt did. I helped her out with the editing. That was about it. And her and her friend Denise Sims, they wrote this book, and it was just basically the culinary journey of my grandmother's life through food.
All right, Startup Nation. So let's take flight with Daniel Watson, founder and CEO of Beneva Mayweather Foods. The Startup Life begins now.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Scholars, are you ready to join the 25 Plus Club? Parents, how does thousands in college savings sound? Brand new in our school, the Owl Academy, we have released How to Hack the ACT. Students will cover managing test anxiety, math, science reasoning, and why eating a good breakfast is so important. For more information, go to this episode's show notes for the link. All right, Startup Nation, so I hope you're ready to receive some value today. We're here with owner and founder of Mayweather Foods, Daniel Watson. What's going on, man?
What's happening, brother? How's it going?
I can't call it. Thank you so much for doing this with us today. Man, you got it smelling good in here, dude.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
You got it smelling good in here.
There's a little bit of the mop water, you know what I'm saying? The Clorox fragrance scent. The bread smell kind of moved out last night, but, you know, it stays around the clock, you know. It's all good.
I hear that. So let's get started. So what's the story behind Mayweather Foods?
1973. This woman, my grandmother, Beneva Mayweather, she took this building you're in and gutted it out and turned it into a full-scale commercial facility. She was in the catering. So she was at the Hun Polo Club for a period of time prior to coming here in 73. I don't know how long that time was, but she worked her way up from salad girl to head chef, and through the encouragement of some of the members, they pushed her into doing her own catering. So she came here, lived next door in that house, and took this particular building and turned it into a commercial kitchen, and I can show you around when we're done.
Okay.
You got the ovens, you got the full range, you got the industrial coolers and everything, and she started catering. So that was her thing. She started to cater for the likes of the who's who of Memphis, friends and families, like everyone. Like, her name is in this city in terms of food service and catering is still reputable to this day. Even when I drop out products, some of the clients, they mentioned her and they just loved her food. They loved how she handled things. So she created a business model based on fine food made from scratch, fine Southern cuisine made from scratch, everything high quality, and just exceptional customer service. And, you know, I lived through this. Like, my son's crib is there, but like, you know, 35, 40, I'm 36, so 35, 36 years ago, I was just in the same position. You know, It's kind of crazy how, you know, the cycle works. So I grew up in this environment. I was raised around this my entire life, entrepreneurship, my family, just understanding, being in that world, how you have certain, you know, you're afforded certain luxuries just because you're an entrepreneur at that time. You know, debit cards and things run around, so it's high cash flow business. It was just a very different environment in the early 80s and late 70s when it came to food service, even up and throughout the 90s. And so I'm around that. You know, I'm around going to people's homes, you know, these elaborate homes, dealing with people all walks of life, interacting, understanding how to cater to them, and understanding what it means to actually provide us a quality service and product, understanding time management, which I'm not the best at, but still having an understanding of the importance of it, as well as understanding the commitment to our passion, which was, you know, creating something that is going to be ingested, which is a food product. So just learning that throughout my life, and I was just always in this world, even when I was in high school. You know, my friends were playing basketball. Of course, at that time, finally beepers were acceptable. Like, you weren't selling dope. You had a beeper. With cell phone, you were selling dope. But beepers, you were cool. You had, so you would get paid while you have your friends. Like, we need you here. You got to go to the store and get this, because forget what you're doing now. Go leave to go get the mint jelly for the lamb, or to go get some more butter, whatever they would need in here, just to make sure that the operation was complete, or they forgot something for a party in the refrigerator. So I'm leaving what I'm doing to carry something to an event, which essentially just established the foundation of making sure that regardless the customers are taken care of, no matter what the chaos may be on the back end, the customer is going to get a fine finished good and product, and that's just always been instilled in me. So seeing that reputation in history, which, you know, 73 till 4 or 5 decades, like continual, like throughout my high school, elementary, high school, and then on to college, this business has always been here. So I went to Morehouse, and my grandmother passed my freshman year. So after that point, it was like, okay, She's no longer here. My aunt, who basically raised me, because my grandmother and my aunt were pretty much the primary figures who raised me. Like, I was raised with my mother to about the second grade, and then from that point on, my aunt pretty much took over.
Gotcha.
And my father, he early on, but I just remember he lived in Virginia, wasn't really heavily just here in Memphis and involved. But, I would see him. It wasn't like he was absentee. He just wasn't in Memphis, and he was in Virginia, so I didn't have him as a part of my immediate experience growing up. So,
Understood.
So my aunt, my grandmother raised me. So at this point, my grandmother and aunt, they were like business partners, I guess, not formally, but my aunt was here in the kitchen. Like, my other aunts weren't here. One's in California, both of them in California. My mom wasn't really involved in the business. After a certain point, she left and started to do something else. So, being raised by my aunt and my grandmother primarily in this business, I'm seeing their relationship evolve and just how things were. And then as I'm in college, she passed my freshman year, my aunt ended up taking over the business. And then just because my grandmother was so just magical with what she did, she was so involved in it, and she was really passionate about what she did. She would do so much and just was a wizard in here. My aunt tried to take on that role, which ended up with being a lot too much for her.
Gotcha.
So she got into health concerns, and she lost a kidney, was suffering from sleep apnea. It was just crazy. That was the same year of the windstorm. We had a huge contract with Memphis City Schools. We had to do this, bought all this product. I was in college at the time,
right?
But the windstorm came and it blew out, everything. Like the Elvis storm, whatever it was called.
Yeah, I know.
And that it changed everything. Like, from that point, and then I guess that whole time her health was already deteriorating, but she had gotten real sick that time. And then that's when we all realized, okay, she really can't be my grandmother. She can be her, which was good enough because she was here the whole time. She just had to believe in herself and trust in herself, which she did. And so after that point, I think it was 2002 maybe, something like that. So then I'm still in college, and so she just took over, and she got, I graduated from Morehouse with honors. Her daughter, finished law school. Like, she was doing all of this and just running this business by herself. And she had a team, but she was here basically taking over the role that, that's my grandmother right there in that picture.
Okay.
And taking over her role and just, making it to where it's like, her own. And it was a huge challenge for her to keep everything going in the spirit of my grandmother, but using her touch and her letting it be known, this is not her, this is me.
Absolutely.
But it's still coming from the same foundation. So that way she can be herself and not try to live up to the expectations of the ability of my grandmother, which was, she would do, she was just all over the place, constantly working, constantly just all taking any and every part, like 4 or 5 parties in a night sometimes. Just a lot of it. Well, not necessarily 4 or 5, but multiple parties in a night. And it was just like, wow, how are you doing all these things? And it wasn't too much for her, but someone else couldn't really work at that level because that's not them. My grandmother passed, my aunt's taking on all this role, she became sick, and I'm like, all right, I get into Morehouse. And then it was when I took an elective, which was crazy, of entrepreneurship. Everything else was mandatory, but the elective was entrepreneurship.
Gotcha.
And, I decided to take it, and then when I took it, I was just really trying to see, am I mentally wired for this life? In junior high school, I was, making little mixtapes and stuff, some music that I liked, but putting it together in a way in which it rolled into other songs. It was kind of like a flow with it, and I really concentrated on how I put together the music. People loved it, and then I realized, okay, I really like creating things and really being in charge of what I do, and then providing it. If revenue comes from it, great, but I really just like to be and have creative control over what I do. And so that always was with me. And even in college, I tried to sell the Chronic Killer to I was in Morehouse, and women all over Atlanta, so if I can get into front of their faces with what they liked in my car, with these, the watermelons and the pineapples and all these different flavors, spray it they were selling it for $5 a pop, or I think $2.50 or $5 a pop here. I could easily, if I got a wholesale price to get it, I can sell it all over Atlanta because of the numbers.
Right.
But the wholesalers wouldn't do business with me. Just learning, they wouldn't do business with individuals, which makes sense now that I understand how it works. But at that time, I was always trying to figure out a way to be an entrepreneurial. I graduate in 2003. It's the beginning of 2004. I'm like, all right, I'm going to come back to Memphis because really I turned down job offers. I had Lockheed Martin expressed some interest, and Hughes Supply Company, and I think...
Can only imagine, graduate from Morehouse with honors.
I mean, it's an entry level, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I know, I get that, but
it's a bachelor's degree, man. Go anywhere you want to get a bachelor's degree. Now, I appreciate the school, I don't knock it, but it's not you know, brothers down there, they sometimes get on some higher than thou type stuff. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, look, man, you know, if I can't go to Clark and play ball because of something that happened between Morehouse and Clark because of y'all acting like, you know what I'm saying, y'all got y'all own gym, go there, and then Moby is like no one better. I get, you know, want to have pride in your school, but when it's down there and you in the middle of the ghetto and you a conglomerate of $1 billion worth of entities, I just feel like that you should be more inclusive across the board. It shouldn't be that Morehouse is better than Moby or Clark because, you know, we get, you know, we have Warren Buffett lunches come down. I'm not sure if you know if he's doing the same for Morris Brown or Clark, but we have the mystique, so to speak, and Spelman, and, you know, we it's kind of like an elitist kind of little deal going on.
Yeah, it sounds like, yeah.
And, you know, I'm not, you know, it's cool, brothers, it's cool people. I appreciate the education, I appreciate the experience, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, they got to keep it 100 about that side of it too.
Right.
Like, I don't need you to make me a man. Like, I came down here with a foundation that was rooted in this story that we're talking about.
Fair
like,
enough.
I can dig it. A lot of guys might didn't have that, and that school helps to bolster them up and give them that confidence. Because you coming down there, you might be an educated brother, might not have been the coolest guy in school, might have been messed with and picked with, because you got to get in there, you got to be taking care of your business. And, you know, I just wasn't that guy. I was well diverse. I played basketball in the high school, honor society, cool with everybody.
Right.
You know, been around music life and, you know, with Squeaky on Saratoga and Mount. I've been around a lot of different diverse backgrounds, so I'm not really needing to be bolstered up in a manner that kind of makes me feel like I'm better than the next person.
Fair enough.
Especially in the AUC environment.
Right.
I'm like, look, we all inclusive. We out here trying to get it. We just getting bachelors. Some people getting postgraduate degrees, but if you're not in the medical field, you're pretty much going to Georgia Tech or some other school that isn't the HBCU in that area. So it might be different now. I think they have graduate programs now beyond medicine. But so I'm in that environment, and like I'm like, all right, so here I am, got these job offers. Let me go back to Memphis to where I know some business been going on at this point 4 decades. That's job security in my opinion. And it's kind of recession-proof industry because you have to eat.
Right.
So it's like, all right. Then my aunt was already sick, and I'm figuring no one else came back. She probably needs some help. Let me bring this, you know, business acumen, learning the game, new ideas to the business, and let's see if we can take it to another level. And then I got hit with a real dose of reality, like, you don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. You are book smart, no experience. You need to shut. You think you all that because you went to Morehouse and things, and I'm like, not even. Like, they knew how I was in Atlanta. I'm like, I'm not even on that tip. Like, I'm Morehouse man. Hold on. They were assuming that. Like, you think you out like because you go. I'm like, no, I'm going to class. I'm learning, and I'm regurgitating information that you wanted me to go down there to learn. So why not use it in this form?
Right.
This is real life. This is like we can practice what I learned. But you know, I don't know. But anyway, it was just, you know, fighting. It was, I'm the youngest in the family. It was just a whole lot of dynamics. Energy. Like, people set in their ways. Like, if it don't broke, don't fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It was just a lot of dynamic that working in a family business. I'm sure a lot of people that are in family businesses, they know sometimes the elder statesmen, they're receptive to the new ideas. Most times they're like, look, we're going to stick with this.
Right.
And then, look, we in the middle of, you know, we in South Memphis. Like, they're worried about zoning issues. They worried about things that let's work under the radar. Because that's how they always did it. Work under the radar. And, you know, not, you know, they did a successful business, but it wasn't like they're trying to get large scale and whatever. You know, be out here and advertise and really get the name out there. They were just happy with what they were doing. And I'm on the mindset like, look, why are we not, you know, multi-millionaires based on the hard work that y'all have put in, and not even about the dollar amount, just why aren't we doing more and gaining more based upon the hard work y'all put in? So I came back and I like, nah, walking issues. So for like 04 to like 08, it was like a back and forth, just like constant. I'm in catering. I'm just learning the game. I'm in here I'm peeling lamb, deveining shrimp, going to like all the grocery stores. It's doing what I was doing as a younger guy in high school. Normally I would be riding around with them doing this, but now I'm just kind of taking on those responsibilities, you know, learning about inventory control, learning about customer service, and just being responsible for that in terms of how it structures, how operationally structured, how the operations are structured, and now I'm actually thinking about all of these things and looking, okay, if I do this, then we can do this, and then maybe if I work at this level, then we can possibly have these things going on, and hey, here's an idea, let's see if we can try this. And so back and forth with that, and we'd always try to do different things, and then I was like, my first product was saying, okay, let's and when I first got back, my aunt wrote a cookbook to honor my grandmother, our mother's table, the culinary journey of Beneva Mayweather. Because my grandmother passed, and they had basically been working on a cookbook for some time. Because they were always trying to do stuff when my grandmother was around. Like, they did a pilot for a cooking show, And my grandmother wasn't that person. You know, when you don't tell her, you gotta. It's a lot more than just actually.
Absolutely.
That wasn't her. That wasn't her thing. And they did the pilot. And my aunt, she went to the San Francisco Culinary Arts School. It's a culinary arts academy, California Culinary Arts Academy. It's a prestigious culinary arts academy in California, in the North San Francisco area. So they were like teamed up, and it just didn't work. But they still had a video next door as the VHS. It was crazy when they did it. But so I'm assuming around possibly after that didn't kind of go down. My aunt was like, "Let's do a cookbook. Let's compile your recipes." But my grandmother didn't use recipes. Like she just saw something winged and made it happen, and that was her gift. It took over like 10 years to actually compile these recipes and get them to where now we have something we can put into a cookbook, which my aunt did. I helped her out with the editing. That was about it. And her and her friend Denise Sims, they wrote this book, and it was just basically the culinary journey of my grandmother's life through food. From growing up in the cotton fields of Lexa, Arkansas, coming to Memphis and living on Provine Street in South Memphis with raising 4 daughters, then going through the things associated with raising 4 daughters, the parties, the Heaven and Hell parties, the debutante balls, and then her going from working in the polo club and that environment where you're learning fine dining experiences, catering to high-end clientele, and preparing meals associated with that kind of the ambiance and the plating structure. Then from that to catering, so it basically covers her life through food, but it also tells stories associated with those periods that people can pretty much relate to, that understand the South and just those type of experiences. It might even be beyond people that didn't live in the South but just understand these experiences in their particular regions of how they might have had those moments in their lives. So and it all as it relates to food and my grandmother's recipes. So I'm like, all right, you got this cookbook, let's come out with some products, because cookbook products go hand in hand. Let's build this brand.
Right.
And peppermint ice cream was the first product I attempted to come out with, because they made an in-house peppermint ice cream. People loved it, and I was like, okay, I can make this. Let's try to get this out, see if we can market and push it. And then I'm learning about the product side. I called Clink Brothers.
Okay.
That has Angel Foods off the Expressway.
Okay.
And talked to a brother. He was just letting me know, look, man, if you want to get into this business, you need to have your money straight, and you need to have a lot of brand visibility, because it's a perishable item. They're not gonna let your ice cream sit in the shelf for 3-4 months so people learn about it, figure it out, possibly try it, and then you have competition, because if you look into the ice cream section, Breyers has about 20 different products, Angel Food, Bunny, Blue Bunny, Country Bell, all these different
the store brand, right?
Yeah, exactly. So where you gonna fit?
Right.
Then when you're there, you got 30 days. If you don't sell it, we're buying it back. So it might not be the best product to get into, especially with only one item. Fair enough. So then I tried to look at doing the salad dressing that they did back when Tall Hammers was around, and they just used to give it to boutique stores. It was a caper dressing, and great, but again, a highly competitive market. When I was calling, I was just learning about it from the store side. Like, you want to get into that category when you have Paul Newman's, who has a lot, and he has of actual philanthropy side to his business, because all the proceeds go to charity. Then you have Kraft, you have Wishbone, you have all these companies, private label, the whole nine, and where you gonna fit? And it's just addressing the same with barbecue sauces and sauces. Like, it's highly competitive, highly saturated. So I'm like, all right. And so my aunt was like, well, why don't you try the chicken seasoning? Everyone loves my grandmother's chicken. She was sending it around. My aunt, when she was working in FM 100.
Okay.
She would take it to her sales meeting. People loved it and raved about it. So I'm like, all right, yeah, okay, cool. Then when it came down to looking at the business side of it, okay, seasoning. You have something that has a very long shelf life. Basically, it doesn't go bad. It might lose its potency, but it doesn't go bad. So then you can have the opportunity to have a long shelf life. It makes sense now with my strategy, because now, okay, if you eat food, you want flavor in your food. Great. Baseline, seasoning. Start it off, and we have a product that people love. It's her product. Great. So then you season the product. Then eventually I was saying, okay, we got to phase this out. So if you want seasoning, you eventually have baked goods and breads, because I'm looking at Sister Schubert, I'm saying, damn, you're cornering the market with an item that people love. They love my grandmother's roll. They're always talking about them, and I just didn't think about it until I saw Sister Schubert. I'm like, damn, you're cornering the market. I'm sure you do the private label for the Kroger's and everyone else. And I'm like, damn, okay. You're actually just out here by yourself. Okay, let's see if we can give you, share some market share. You know what I mean? And it's enough for everyone eating in the business. Like, competition is a good way to bring the best out of people, but ultimately it doesn't necessarily exist. I mean, there's so much money out here, so much opportunity.
That's true.
Find your niche anywhere. So, which I've done.
Right.
And then eventually go into frozen entrees, which is the third phase, which makes it full circle back to catering. So, of course, we're in phase 2 now. So, when I had the seasoning, it was great. got the product out on the market. It went good. I had it in. I was selling it out the trunk. I called on to Easy Way and Piggly Wiggly and Whitehaven. That was my first store because it was Piggly Wiggly at the time. Clarence Mosley, the manager there, he's still there today. Shout out. He hooked me up. We did a booth. I was frying, having a little chicken stand, frying up chicken.
Nice.
Tasting it. People loved it. They tried it. And Easy Way, Barry Carter, I think they had like one location left. You know, a lot of things happened with their business model, but he gave me a shot. It worked out. I was doing demos. I sold out. Gave a lot of product away. And then I was like, all right, called on the big boys, Kroger. And they were like, man, you need to come up with more product. And I'm like, okay. So for the next 2 years, I was doing R&D to come up with additional items to sell.
Right.
So I came up with 5 other items. You have an all-purpose seasoning, a fish seasoning. Then you have breaders to deep fry. If you want to deep fry, of course, in the South, there's something that kind of moves. And you have a spicy chicken breader, original chicken breader, and fish breader. Took that back to Kroger. 2 years later, meet with a different buyer. They told me no. I was like, nah, I can't go for that. Because I'd be there. It's been 2 years. Maybe
Right.
exactly what you say. Give me something. So they gave me distribution in the Memphis stores, about 20 some odd stores, with 2 of the products, not all 6. And from there, just started to move those products. Did pretty good. Couldn't find a co-packer to pick up the bread, so I was too small. So I started to do it in house. So now we're doing the artisan baked goods, and here we are. You know, trying to build the brand up, continue to grow. Continuing to focus on new line items, and hopefully we can get back scale production. I'm out of the Kroger stores now because I made mistakes. I didn't take the money from the season and reinvest it directly back into the product.
Fair enough.
Going towards operating expenses, things that I had to do to keep the doors open. But that's not how you really want to do any of your. You got to re-up with your product, and it needs to pay for itself. And then the margins off of it go towards those other things. And if you don't have those margins, you gotta, supplement that lack of income, which I, just in the process of learning.
Right.
So excited about the Kroger deal, not wanting to lose it. Want to keep them just happy. So I'm just totally just focused on them not doing nothing else but the seasoning. And then I should have probably started the baked goods as well with the seasoning, but just learning it and understanding it and making those mistakes, you just gotta go through the process and learn as you go along. Not gonna be perfect, or at least I'm not. And yeah, just got to the point where I started baking in-house through the encouragement of my girlfriend at the time, now wife.
Nice.
And she was like, look, you got to do something. Because I was waiting on deals to come through. I'm calling on companies. I'm like, look, and I've got a co-packer that said they'll pick me up 3 months down the line. They kept pushing me back 4 months. And in this game, lead times like that, really, that's not a long time. Gotcha. Months pass, especially for a production run.
Fair enough.
And then get on someone's line. So, at least for me, like that period of time didn't last that long. Like, give me till March, we'll reach back out. Okay, great. You're going to produce, you're going to be able to produce it. And I can call on, Walmart, I can call these stores and they'll push it out because I know this will move because I was already demoing it with the seasoning at the stores and people were looking for it. So I already had like a baseline understanding that, yeah, okay, this can move because Sister Shoe was out there and I'm already demoing it with the seasoning and people are asking about this in conjunction with that product and it's not even sold. So, and then just got me to this point now where we're doing baked goods across the city of Memphis, multiple store locations and like different categories of business, food service, and just trying to continue to grow this brand. So
awesome. Daniel, if you would, what do you wish you would have known before you started Mayweather Foods? Oh, I'm sorry, before you entered back into the fold of Mayweather Foods, basically.
To basically have a nest egg kind of ready to kind of go out and get things kind of started the right way. You don't need to kind of be winging it as you go along. And
Gotcha.
It helps not take on as much debt if you kind of don't have a solid, like if I had a purchase order, I would understand taking on the debt I
Fair
did.
enough.
But it's kind of good to have a little nest eggs kind of set up so you can go out and do the things, necessarily have the resources at your disposal to, advertise properly, do the demos and meet people, get around, make sure your labels look good and just make sure everything's kind of set up to where you're not starting, I guess, in the red as much because you're gonna have to spend some money to make some money. But
absolutely,
yeah, it helps you out into just go full steam ahead cautiously, but go full steam ahead.
I know you got Mayweather Food. Did you ever work in corporate America a little bit before then?
I had an intern. This is real life, y'all. Okay, internship with Coca-Cola my freshman year in college. Okay, I won that here with the bottling company here locally, and I got fired in up to a week. Because my PP was cloudy.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm in college. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it was crazy. They hired me within an hour and fired me within a week. I was at the FedEx Classic at Southwind, and they called me. And I'm like, damn, here you go. And so then, but it was kind of like, I was like, all right, whatever, because me and my homeboy in college, my roommate, we were trying to come out with this clothing line. It was kind of cool because we were going around campus and we were just saying the name, and we were just whispering women's ear the name of the company. And they were like, what's that? And like, I think we got something, dude. We put this, because he was like, he could draw, like he could literally do the draw the images for the clothing, like those little skinny pictures and stuff. Like he could do that. Like that was his, I was like, okay, you really know how to draw for a designer, so let's do it. And it didn't work out, but yeah, I got fired from Coke, and then I worked, had another internship at Hartsfield International Airport in their parking division, which at the time I believe it might still be. That's their number one revenue generator at that airport is parking. So now it's beyond the rent spaces for the vendors. It's parking. That's where they get a lot of their revenue. So had an internship there. That was, and then I worked as a counselor at a camp over the summer here with the city of Memphis, and then I worked with, I guess, a camp with, it was underprivileged youth. It was like a not an orphanage, but it's kind of like a place where at night the women would, I think, stay there, and I was a counselor there, and then that was it. For the most part, I just worked in Moncrief heating and air conditioning and sales. Made them a lot. I was real good at that job. Okay, and that was just all the college stuff, but I haven't had a salaried position in corporate America formally ever.
No, when you had like the internship and the heating and air place, what did you learn from like a boss or a supervisor that you had?
Not really. It's like that's the thing. Like when I go into the job field and like you're working for some other company, it's so many different things going through my mind. I'm like, all right, I'm in a position now where it's all about competition. They love competition because it helps their bottom line, and then it helps them to make more money as a company. But it also is like the backbone of everything that goes on psychologically with people like that. People looking over their shoulder, people looking at you. They see how you're performing, so they're trying to mimic you. Do they have a good relationship with you beyond that? And as a result, you kind of look at things objectively throughout. It's not like, even if you have someone bad, it's like either you really don't like me because you're an asshole, or you just are concerned about what I might take your position, which is right. And that doesn't get in the way with the bottom line because you still got to get the job done.
Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of you go into it. Once you it's kind of like I become a robot if I'm going to work for someone else. Like I have no feelings. I have nothing. I'm just like, I'm here to do. It's
part of the system.
It's part of it. So, and I literally turn it on and off. And I know I can do that, but I don't expect other people to do that. I'll request it, like leave your problems at home, but that's not being realistic. Some people just, they don't know how to separate objective from their non-objective life. And I'm just wired that way. It's like, I'm in this moment. I'm like, everything's a moment, and that's what it's about. So, in terms of just bad, I don't even know. I'm sure some people might have. I have no idea what that's like.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Now, I would imagine your business model is a little different because this next question we ask is usually the businesses are like direct to consumer, but yours seem a little different as far as like where you deal with stores. So, how do you navigate those waters to get those deals, if you will, forgive my ignorance, with like the Kroger or the Superlo or in grocery stores? How do you
cold call? Pick up the phone, know what I want to do, know who I want to sell, and just really try to get a face-to-face meeting and try to give them to the product, tell them the story, give them the product, and then after that point, I'm here to make you look good. There's a million different products in the grocery store. So the food business, you really can't go wrong when you're hungry and going to the grocery store. Just pick something, you're going to be happy. As long as you're not allergic to it, it's not a bad decision in a grocery store. So when you're in that environment, it's all about making the other person look good. What added value do I bring to you? Pick up the phone, make a call, give them the product, and at that point, now I have traction, so I can just show them, here are the numbers, here's what I've done, here's how I performed, here's a story, and if need be, hey, I'm a minority vendor, so if you need that to check mark, fine, but I don't sell that. I sell the product, I sell the brand viability, and the fact that I'm here to make you look good and make you more money, because that's going to make us all money, because it's a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, we always, engage in professional development, whether reading books, audio books, whatever the case may be. What does that mean to you, and what are you learning right now?
I mean, I try as much as I can to like take advantage of any kind of workshop that I have time for, but it's like I'm a one-man band, so it's only so much time that I can really invest into actually myself, because I got a family now.
Right.
I have a wife, and
is your business partner asleep, by the way?
No, I'm sure. Yeah, he's at home sleep. He was awake when I left, but it might be nap time. But yeah, business partner be in the building. But like all that is a part of it. And it's like, man, it's something to me like. I don't mind. Like I read when I can. Like I stay online. My wife hates it, but I stay on Facebook not to get the actual news itself, but just to get like I'm looking at consumer behavior essentially.
Fair enough.
Because I'm following people and they're posting things, they're saying things, they're doing things. So I'm getting a taste of the environment that is out here. So I have a firmer understanding. Okay. The shopper, when they're at their shopping point, they're also the same person that's passionate about these other areas, whether they be true or not, or fake news or not. They still have these passions because this is what they're posting. This is what they're deciding to share with the world. So it helps me to give an understanding of people and to give me ideas. So I learn a lot from just that social media environment as the business of social media. Like it is a world that the people that are making money off of it, they understand it and they're manipulating, well not manipulating, they're just using their business model in order to, generate revenue for them or for whatever reason. I'm trying to understand attention span is the number one commodity now. So where's your attention going and how can I get you to focus attention on my product? So and where are you going socially? How's the world evolving? Like what are people actually feeling? What are their interests and what they care about? Because beyond the business, that's why in terms of professional development, like my life is more important. Like living this thing properly, having this experience and respecting it and enjoying it and really be in this life, not just of it. You know what I'm saying? And being in the moment. And that involves just, absorbing everything beyond my objective world. I like loving my life, spending time with my son, kicking it, like not doing shit some days. Just it's coming here like I'm relaxed, I'm chill because I'm not under that pressure to perform for the sake of having something or being at this pillar. Like I have goals, I have things I want to achieve, and I'm very focused and committed on them. But at some point, man, like, you got to realize, man, at any day this thing could be over with. What are you doing to fulfill this life? Not just reach your bottom line or get this sales goal, whatever. What are you doing to do the whole thing? And that's what I'm, primarily focused on. So when it comes to really professional development and time, I will develop. I will learn. If I can go to the QuickBooks class, I will. But hell, it might be during the day I got to order. Or if I gotta, want to, pick up another book to read, that's cool. But it might take me a few months to read it just because the way I like to take in information, I need to kind of stick with it. And if I have a week like during the holidays, I couldn't do anything but work and sleep. And didn't get much sleep. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm in this. I'm in the midst of. I committed to it. I'm totally involved, and I'm down for the. Entrepreneurship is what it's about. I don't have a stable lifestyle. I don't have structure. I'm building my structure. It can go any kind of way, and that's just what I signed up for. So as a result, I might not be as fine-tuned in all areas, and I can definitely use some fine-tuning, but I'm not going to commit myself to just objectifying my life when I have so much more that I live for that is beyond. Like I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I didn't make sure the balance was there.
Absolutely.
So that's how I kind of look at it. Like go get your professional development, go read your books and do those things. Keep that involved, but also realize, man, you got to. And sometimes, man, you gotta just enjoy everything and just look around, smell the air. You know what I'm saying? Look at people. See where people are, feel their pain, feel what they need, and just try to see if you can really be great and give back in ways that affect you, your business, but it affects this world and make it a better place.
I hear that, and I imagine that's kind of where book reading time came from, right? Just trying to have that work-life balance.
Well, book reading time was like I need to read to my son. Number one, off top. Like I know the benefit it gave me. Like you need to understand the language that you're about to learn and read from and become whatever. You need to know that. But more importantly, man, it's like all right, I got to. I'm inside Memphis, but I'm around this. I'm in this community. I see a lot that goes on. I'm in part of the community association, so I hear people's pain. I'm like, look, man, I can't sit out here and not give back, because I think that because of the history of people fighting and struggling to try to provide opportunities for inner city America as well as for people to look like us and just anyone that's going through a struggle. It's like, all right, man, if they've been fighting this long, people feel like we've gotten far, but we still have so far to go. Then there has to be some easy, simplified ways to make a dynamic impact. And so with book reading time, I'm like, look, man, I know a lot of parents aren't around, don't have time, not really in the space where they can really do this. Like I can be with my son, at whatever time and still get over here and get work done. Like a lot of people might not have that time. A lot of black males might not be in there for children's life, and I know the importance of just seeing that imagery, of just having that etched in your brain. It's extremely important to me to set the foundation, because if you can read and understand words, then, and if you like to understand and you embrace that, then that will help you a lot, regardless if the resources at your school are inadequate, or if you're in a situation where the teachers might not care. That it's just a crazy world. Like, you can, if you read and understand you understand words and languages, then you're probably less likely to have an adverse learning experience early on, which could then lead to problems later on. Like, for example, when I was in school, the kid that didn't do the homework or wasn't comfortable reading, that was the one that was acting all bad and tough and hard, because it wasn't just he might have aggression, might be issues at home, but he feel like, all right, if I gotta read something, I don't know how to read, now I'm finna just go to get you off my back, I'm about to brush up because now I'm feeling threatened. And as opposed to really just embracing the fact, dude, you need to learn these words and languages, because 10, 15 years from now, it's going to come to where you're going to need to have it as a part of your foundation, to where now, if you take example, the Electrolux and all these companies, they can't get the people qualified to even take the test to get trained.
Right.
Well, that starts at book reading time level.
Absolutely.
Understanding it, reading, and just respecting words. And of course, it's just the imagery, a positive imagery. Oh, man, I'm with my son reading. This is important.
I hear that.
Let me put that out there as little old me, and hopefully that can kind of take off. And then if we do that 1 million different times or 20 million different times, that makes foundational impacts. It's nothing that's elaborate. It's nothing that's flashy. It's just like, look, we reading. I'm having a good time. I'm spending time with my son. I'm killing 2 birds, and the image that I can pass on to other brothers and sisters, especially to the single mom that's raising these young boys. Mm-hmm. Or to the young male that might just not have dad around or whatever. Just like, here's something for you. If you don't have, even if you don't have time, you're just busy. You're in your child's life, but you're busy. You're working 2 jobs, whatever the case may be. Here, let's take this. Let's really invest in reading and words, but more importantly, let's show the imagery, because I know how important it is in our community to see that.
Absolutely.
And I hope that more people do it. Like, it don't have to be exclusive to me. It's just, I hope more people do it. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? I did copyright this book reading time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the end of the day, you ain't got to go online. Like, just read to your kids, have fun with it, man. Because at that level, now I know, because I was read to at that level. Like, now it's not a problem understanding words and speaking and doing things like that. It's like, it's natural. You don't feel anxiety when you do it, because I've been in, like, I was an option my whole life, but standard, whatever that, I hate that word, but the other students, and you would see the difference in just like, being smart was almost like, you had to overcome. Some people had to overcome. I didn't worry about it, because I just was confident who I was. And I ain't let that define me. It was just like, all right, I take care of business at school. It wasn't like I'm better than you or anything. It's just I'm here. But when you had that relationship, you just saw, like, damn, dude, you really just mad because the teacher asked you to answer a question that you really ain't mad. You just mad you can't answer the question.
Right.
But we don't address that. And by that time, it's like, look, bro, you probably can help, but the older you get, the more difficult it is to kind of rebuild foundations. That's why they always say, teach the children, you really can't teach adults. Like, and I hate that's that saying. I don't believe in that, but I do understand where that come from, because now, if he's hearing words all day long, he understands it. When he's reading that science book or that English book, these things, now he's going to be able to understand the context of them and the content, as opposed to trying to figure out just announcing that word or saying it. You know what I mean? These are things, that's embarrassing to some kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not being able to speak properly, and then they'll just totally turn them off from learning and reading. And now there's a world out there that's, obviously existed, will definitely take you in if you don't want to embrace the system, I guess, so to speak, so, or at least play in the system, play the game, and this is the way the system is set up. And, hopefully book reading time, it instills that droplet of energy in that foundation that can, take you to wherever you want to go.
I hear that.
Never be erased. But yeah.
I hear that.
Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, download these computers, man. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. So, a lot of people, and you're a college educator, so you can probably provide some type of context to this. Some people believe that entrepreneurs have to have, like, all these contacts, the college educated, college degree in order to be successful. Some people think you just need an idea and some work ethic to be successful as an entrepreneur. Where do you stand on that?
You can say all of that, really, because you gotta have the work ethic, you gotta have the idea, but the contacts, they help. Who you know, so who you know world, man. And like, I had a guy offer me a job that was one of my grandmother's clients, a very successful business owner, and it would have set me up probably where I'm making good money and very little work, because his business model is very easy, but I was like, man, I can't do that. I can't leave my aunt hanging because she depended on me to go to the Sam's, go to the stores, and now who's gonna do that?
Right.
And who's gonna do it the way I do it? Because I know people don't do it the way I do it. They'll pick up any kind of product. Now, there's certain kind of products you need, and you don't need to be looking all day in the store to get it, and you need to kind of understand. So I don't want to leave her hanging. So I turned down a job offer that probably would have gave me those resources I was talking about, that nest egg,
Absolutely.
to fund my business.
Right.
But you don't have to be college educated to be successful. Honestly, college is a hustle. It's a big hustle because it costs money. And you really, if you're talking about creating a better country, you want as many smart people as possible. If you educate them, it should be for free. That's why I voted for Bernie Sanders. And I was digging for Bernie Sanders. But don't knock education now, because you need to. Because the nuance of business is where that college degree comes in, to understand accounting, to understand marketing, to understand strategies, to understand how to build relationships, how critical thinking works, how dealing with personalities that might be just as alpha as you are, how to be able to go into a room with a bunch of alphas and get the job done, which is something that college teaches you, because at that point you're in an environment with everyone, okay, we're in college now, we're doing what we're supposed to do. Everyone has an idea that works. Everyone thinks that they got a plan. So how you going to get your thing through in the midst of having that, as well as those that might be, they might be in college, but they're not there. They just really are taking a ride. They got, money in the family. I'm just going through the motions, and I got all the resources at my disposal. I'm really not as smart as you, but because I'm here, that's who I know, I'm going to get put here. Gotcha. And that happens too. That happens, in college and outside of college.
Absolutely.
But when you're in that environment, you kind of, get cool with these people, know these people, and you know other people, people that's struggling, people that's kind of, from the streets, hard, you know what I'm saying? They just in an educated environment, and, you kind of get that mix socially to kind of, where you also expected to perform. So when you get out in the real world and you're dealing with issues where you might be a manager and you have these personalities, somebody coming to work got a crazy at-home situation, or they just health issues, you're able to understand dynamics, which college kind of gives you all of that in one, as well as forcing you to bring out the best of you objectively, because these professors are on you, life is on you, you have all this freedom, and you're a quote-unquote an adult. So it helps to kind of build that world around you. But at the end of the day, it's still capitalism, because you're going to pay for that education,
right?
And you have to spend money. Most college students are broke. That's the telltale, that's the environment. So you're always dealing with that in the back of the head, and so the person that's not in college is focused on that, which is the bottom line. Unfortunately, it's the bottom line of capitalism. It's not the bottom line of life. Life is about enjoying and living, treat people right, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So, but in terms of just the dollar side of it, so you can focus on that, not to focus on keeping your lights on and worry about food.
Right.
Some people out here are equipped to just get to the money, and they can make it happen. They don't need to have all of these. They're gonna have to have someone that does have that education, because you need to know your taxes and accounting. You need to understand that, but you don't have to have that in order to be successful. You need to understand it. So you need to go to YouTube, library, lynda.com, whatever, and get that knowledge. But don't just act like if you don't go to college, you're less than some people. And I know people, and I truly believe, because people feel like they're not validated. They look for people that's not in college, not in school, to make them feel like, at least I'm not you. And it's like, man, that's nothing. That means nothing. That draws that makes us separate from each other, and it hardens us, because now it's like you versus me, and everybody's trying to go for the same goal. It's like, I know people right now. I got student loans, and I know people that don't. And they're like making a ton of money, and they're not doing anything illegal.
Right. But
they just went out to the point you were saying, like they had a plan, idea, they understand how to execute it. They got some understanding of education. They're not just dumb.
Right, of course.
But they just didn't take the typical high school, college job and all that. They went out and made it happen, and they're very successful. And now they have something to say, and then the other people have something to say, and then in between you have the battle of, well, at least I go to college. I'm college educated, and I got this job. I got that. Like, man, whatever, man. What are you doing? Make the world a better place. And
absolutely.
Bottom
At the end of the day,
bottom line, money is a funny thing. It's various ways to make money, but are you wealthy? You know what I'm saying? Is your spirit wealthy? You know what I'm saying? Are your heart wealthy? Yeah, your bank account is one thing, but moral compass is another. So.
I hear that. I definitely hear that. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten, and what's the worst piece you've ever gotten?
Best piece of advice was from a very, very successful businessman in Memphis. It's like, man, I always make sure you're buttoned up, man. When you come to the table, make sure you're buttoned up.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Don't come in with your tie looking all crazy. That's not physically speaking, but make sure you're on point with you're buttoned up. You know what I'm saying? Don't
exactly.
just come make sure you your game is tight, you know, at all times. Especially as an African American brother, you know, you really need to make sure that you on point with what you do, and don't, if you know you half step, and don't half step, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're trying to ask other people to give you their money, which is basically their earnings from their labor, to spend with you for whatever reason, like whether they need it or not, like whether it's a need through law, like insurance companies or people that, you know, taxes and things like that. You have to get that done, so they're there to get something. They're there to provide a service for you that you have to have. Don't take that for granted, and just because someone has to do something through laws, that you don't give them their all and you're not making sure you're on point. And I don't think I've ever received some bad advice, because the thing is that the only way you're really wrong about something if it's factually proven. Okay. Everything we say is an opinion. Everything we say is an opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything is an opinion, unless there's like I dropped my hat. Fact. Hat was dropped. I dropped it. Fact. Okay, that's not an opinion. But short of that, how you do things, which way to go. Because I've heard like numerous people, how that's not gonna work. I don't see that happening. Like with my business, I don't just really see it. Like, okay, that's fine. Like it's that. I'm glad you don't see it, because that forces me to really see. Okay, why don't you see it? What areas am I missing?
I hear that.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like
kind of forces you to be creative.
Yeah, creative. Okay. And then check yourself. Make sure you know what I mean. Like you're on point with what you're doing. And it's like I just don't. There's advice that might not benefit you, but I think life is like. It's structured in a way where you make your own decisions and it affects your outcome, but everything is kind of everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? And like your journey is kind of like it's your journey for a reason, because you have ups and downs and everything else. And
right.
Once is you straight. Like, and then you gonna look back on those journeys like, damn, that was a crazy turn. But what if I didn't make that turn? Would I ended up here? You know, you never know. You can never second guess yourself. It's just like with a basketball game. They always say, well, if they may see that 2 points come to haunt them. What the fuck you mean that 2 points come to haunt them? I mean, what you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if that, like, that's not how it works. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, it's at the first quarter, you mean 2 points is gonna affect the end of the game? Like, that ain't how this works. It's not how it works. You know what I mean? You don't know if they would have went on a 10-0 run if that shot.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? So it's like and that's the objective world, and you have to have that structure, because you have to know that if I charge $20 for this, I need my $20. I don't need nobody. Well, actually, in reality, it's not really 20 if you think about it. It's a 2 and a 0, so I can just give you 2 and nothing. Like, yeah, you're gonna get my motherfucking money. You know what I'm saying? But and you know, being on time, like you gotta have some structure, but ultimately you can't lose sight of just at the end of the day, man. This is all just. It's not as crucial or serious as we make it, but you can't play with it. You know what I mean? That makes sense. So.
Fair enough. No. Last question before we go to break. What is a typical day? And I know bits and pieces because I follow you on social media. But what's the typical day in the life of Daniel Watson?
Oh yeah, wake up. Hopefully I can get book reading time with my son. If not, I'm going to normally like early in the week. I like to go get my supplies. Like I used to try to do it on Sundays, but I just like I'm not gonna like work 5-6 days a week. I got a family now, so on Mondays I try to get all my supplies for the week, check my storage, see what's needed restocked, then come in here. I try to make up my dough for the week to prepare for products that's coming in, and then sometimes I try to do some work around here. Like I got so much clutter in here, but I need space to kind of really grow and do things I need to do. So try to get some work done. I might do like my accounting work with my QuickBooks, make dough. By the time I get through making dough, it's probably the end of the day. You know, try to get my day started. I'm trying to get back and create some time where I can exercise and just keep physically, you know, like to keep that on point too. Do that and, you know, make cold calls, maybe try to visit a client or two if possible, introduce some products, drive around, see what new businesses are out that might, you know, be a good fit for my product. And then normally by Monday afternoon, I already know what I got to do for one of my larger clients, and it pretty much structures the rest of my week. So by Tuesday, I'm already getting prepared for orders that's going out Wednesday, and if the phone calls are coming in, then I'm trying to field those. And then like early on in the week, I try to make sure that I can get out of here at a good time, because later on in the week, I normally, like last night I was here to midnight. Thursdays I'm normally here to 9-10 o'clock at least. And I try to make sure I'm leaving early so I can just kick with my family and my son.
Absolutely.
And beforehand, I used to just work nonstop. and I always used to be on the go. Like, at one point, I was Ubering just to bring in more income, just to, if I needed to have, a staff, I can pay them, because I was really trying to grow last year, but it just wasn't. It was so much going on. It was like, I'm going to just, get through the year, see how I did with just, strictly off the sale, because I lost a food service account with West Clinic, Kelly English with Second Line and Restaurant Iris. He now does these. He has exclusive rights for their food service at all their clinics, and they were using us a couple of Thanksgiving, so that was like a huge deal just at the end of the year, and that was gone. So didn't get to throw that in the bottom line, but still we did pretty good with just off the product. So once I've seen that, now I know a couple of years back to back where I'm kind of am as a one-man band and what I can really do by myself. I'm seeing that number. Now I'm in a position where I can, it's okay, let me bring someone in here, and then I can throw you in at this particular salary if I can afford that, or I can find some interns, or I can pretty much figure out how to structure this whole thing so I can grow this, and then scale it if I can't find an investor or anyone that's interested in coming in.
Gotcha.
And so that's it, man. Print out invoices, make phone calls, get phone calls.
Gotcha.
And just bake, man. Bake and, try to keep this area as not as congested. I mean, it's a lot. It's straight in that.
No, I got you. I got
that's
you.
where all the cooking goes down. But like, that's why I got my boxes just to keep everything. I can ship out product and stuff. And,
Understood.
yeah, it's straightforward. It's a lot of work, but it's not too much involved.
But that's the life, though, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I signed up for, man. Wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I'm saying?
How you like being on the startup life so far?
I really enjoy it, man. I really appreciate it. Love the questions. Gets me to think about some things, and really just appreciate the opportunity and the honor, man. I love speaking to people that want to speak to me. So it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. And we do appreciate the time. So we're going to take a quick break, and you're listening to The Startup Life. If you are a teacher looking for great resources, look no further than Owl's e-commerce store on Teachers Pay Teachers. The store name, Teaching with Owls. Enjoy great lessons based on short stories from great authors such as Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour and Edgar Allan Poe's The Mask of the Red Death. And no worries, teachers, all lessons are Common Core aligned. Let's continue. All right, Startup Nation, so we're back with Daniel Watson. Now, Daniel, can you, explain to us what the Grindumentary is?
Well,
it's something I follow on social media, and I appreciate a lot. But tell us a little bit about that.
It's all good. It was, well, I'm saying it's how social media, you're documenting everything. It's
Absolutely.
a documentary, and I feel everybody grinding, so Grindumentary. That's it. And it's essentially just to say, man, look, everybody is going through, I think the best of people is when they out there doing their thing, man. And like, when you out there, you start your day, and you finna go make it happen. I think every single body person, no matter young, old, like you and your grind, that's the best of you. I think that's who you are, and this brings out what the essence of your beauty and everything about you. And it's just your day to day, how you get it to make it happen. Whether you got something objective going on, or whether you just out here just living life, like that's your grind, like your day to day, how you get through it to get to it. And that's it. And I just want to focus on that, and I want that to be, that's what I'm doing, because this is my Grindumentary, and I know everyone has their own Grindumentary, but I'm focused on that. That's why I trademarked it. So I'm trying to really take it, and I really got some things I want to do with it, with some different projects, but it's what I'm doing, man. It's like at the end of the day, when this thing pops off and I'm looking back, it would be strictly about that Grindumentary, and
I hear that.
That's what everybody had. We all go through it, man, every single day. I know it. I know everybody has their stories and their struggles, so that's your Grindumentary. You know what I'm saying? It's unique to every single person on earth. The day you come into this, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's all good.
Got you. So, what do you think, Daniel, is a popular misconception about business, like starting a business?
You own. You rich. You popping, man. You own a business? Yeah, I'm a man. You what? I'm getting it. No, it's like, it's not like, it's cool. The freedom is cool, but it's like you got sacrifices, and you gotta put in that work, man. You gotta really, unless you got the resources to get the people to put in the work, some work getting put in. There gonna be some long nights. There gonna be some broke days. Gonna be a couple of missed bills. Gonna be a light or two get cut off for a minute, but at least for me, but it's not all about it, and you're responsible for, like, so much, especially once you get a staff, man. Like, you're responsible for their life. You're responsible for them going home and make sure they can take care of their family. So it's like it's it's more than just owning it. Like, you have essentially a second life that you're responsible for. It breathes and it lives and it does its thing, and it's really predicated on your behavior completely and totally. There are other outside factors that can affect it, but I mean, you're the one that kind of steers the ship. So it's not all it's fun, but it's a lot of commitment beyond what you would normally think you would have to do in order to, you know, I guess, run a business. If you think it's just a matter of just saying it, man, it's a lifestyle. Like, you are living this life. You are definitely not just an owner. You are so much more.
Right.
And I don't think people necessarily fully understand that it's not just, you know, a title. You know.
I hear that. I hear that. A lot of people, they want the title, but not the everything else that comes with it. Right.
It's a whole lot that comes with it, man. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be wired for it. It is. I mean, you can do it. Anyone can start a business, but to actually go through the ups and downs and to take that ride, that zigzag and that all over the place, you got to understand that it's coming, and you got to be prepared for it, you know.
Gotcha. All right. So I know you talked about, you know, you're a one-man band, but I know eventually you want to bring in some employees and stuff like that.
Right.
What would you look for in an employee?
Someone that can duplicate what I do objectively. Like, I need them, like, this is my process, this is how we roll, I need you to do that. But I also need you to understand that people are ingesting this product. You're eating it, you're consuming it. You know,
Okay, fair enough.
I don't need you to come in here and not wanting to see it done right. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving you this, but this was supposed to go to one of my customers, and I'm like, nah, I can't. Even though, and this is a free pan. I give all my customers free pan. I'm like,
Gotcha.
I can't accept that. Like, I would go back, and this was part of the original order. I would have gone back and just dumped this out, and these are perfectly good. You know,
Right.
there's
No, I
nothing
got
wrong. I got people that would buy these from me,
Right.
but it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to trust to know that if a cut isn't right, you're not just gonna put it in just to get through with the job.
Gotcha.
I need you to to make sure it's right and consistent. Because I mean, I'm selling an artisan product. I got a high price point. You need to understand that, and you need to respect that people are going to spend their money for this, and I want to give them everything and more as best I can through that pan.
Gotcha.
I want you to be committed to the customer. I want you to be committed to the process, and I want you to be committed to your greatness. I want you to come into this environment and embrace what we're trying to do here. I want you to be hungry. I want you to have a desire to be just the best at what you can, at best at whatever you do. And I also want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy it. So, you know, I want you to be technically sound when it comes to, you know, understanding this process and the dough size and the cuts and everything else. And I just want you to be, honestly, I want you to strive to be better than me, you know?
Gotcha. And I imagine that, you know, you were talking about people, you know, eat your food and stuff like that. So I imagine how it looks is important as well, not just the
all that, the looks,
right.
the looks, everything. It's just the matter, just, you know, understand, like, make sure the ingredients are right. Like, if, you know, like, if something falls on the floor, I throw it away. You know, it's just, no one's here to see me. I can easily, like, you know, like, look, it's about just keeping that integrity, that product integrity intact, and you know, making sure we just provide, like, I want this to be the #1 most preferred food brand in the nation.
I hear that.
And that requires a commitment to the process, because
Absolutely.
now I know that, and that's preferred, meaning that the consumer will decide it, but now I'm giving you validation. Here's why you should make this decision.
Got you.
Because of what happens when they don't see. And it comes through the people that'll be responsible for scaling this operation. Because I'm one man, it's like I'm eventually going to have to step totally out the kitchen and just focus on growing this company.
Gotcha.
And that's, you know, hopefully that's coming sooner than later, you know.
I hear that. I know the story of for this next question, but have you ever had to turn down a client, or have you ever had a situation where you said you was like prospecting for new stores and stuff like that? What are you looking for? Or when you had to turn down a client, what was that process like?
Well, I didn't. It was like really I couldn't afford the resources to get to capacity, but I couldn't do the deal period, because I wasn't like, this is not like the casinos. I went down them like early on when I first started baking, and which is back in 2012. And I was like, let's do a deal. They liked it, and if the price was right, you know, they would want to do, you know, sheet pan, like truckloads full of product, at least a baker truck full of product. And like, damn, I don't have the infrastructure for that, nor do I have the setup. You know, the equipment isn't there, and I couldn't really pursue it and really find out what it could look like, because it just wasn't there. And then, like another store chain, it's just the market is more into quantity, not quality, and I'm not about to lower my ingredient standards just to make a profit.
Gotcha.
So I can't really do business with all stores in the city of Memphis, just due to the demographic that they cater to. But I'm trying to find a way, because, you know, I want everyone to add this product, but it's a high-end product, and that's my market, and I gotta kind of focus on the people that respect and appreciate what's in the product and also can afford it. And that's not for everyone. And that's just the realities of business and the realities of this product and this market. So,
Any advice to somebody starting out in entrepreneurship? What would that be?
make sure you want to be an entrepreneur. Like before you even start, before you do any of that, make sure that you want to live a life that is strictly unorthodox in the sense of you could be, enjoying your day, and all of a sudden you are thrown into a situation where you will not be seen for a week, or you have to you thought this is your responsibility, now you have to do 4 or 5 different things because that's just what you're called to do. Make sure you're wired to do whatever, whenever, in order to make sure you're successful. Make sure that you really are passionate about what you do. It helps to be passionate. You don't have to be, because you can just you can buy a franchise and not really be passionate about
Fair
it.
enough.
Just
Fair enough.
run the system and still be successful. So, but just really make sure you're wired for it. Like if you're not wired to be an entrepreneur, you're not wired to do the things necessary that need to do. If you're gonna complain about what has to be done, or you can complain and have good days and bad days, but just make sure you get it done. If it's not for you, then go into someone else's structure and just be the best you can be, and then you'll still be successful. It's like, I don't really like when people say they don't want to build someone else's dream. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but if you're not prepared to build your own, then why not help someone else build theirs, and that will help you possibly down the line to get to the point where you can. Because
Fair enough.
it's nothing wrong with working for someone. It's just a matter of just if you really understand what it's all about. It's more than just job security. You really are now deeply invested in your business as well as your customers. So you essentially have 2 bosses as opposed to one. Because I work for my customers, and the business dictates what I do and how I do it. And I don't run anything other than I make the moves that. And if the business doesn't respond favorably, then I gotta listen. Like, if I don't listen, then I'm not gonna be in business much longer. So, but and make sure you're a good follower before you're a good leader.
Okay.
And that helps you to be able to learn and listen to advice and hear people out and what they say and hear objective opinions without being emotional about it. And then know that you got greatness inside of you, and if you believe in your greatness, then whether you fail or not, you're gonna always make it through it. And then you can get out here and be a quote unquote entrepreneur, whatever that means. It's a lifestyle, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lifestyle. It's more than a title. So it's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who are your mentors, Daniel?
Michelle Hoskins, she's with Michelle Foods out of Chicago, South Holland, Illinois. She has a very, 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 very successful syrup line on the market. I tried to have a mentor with the same guy that told me to be buttoned up, but he's just so busy. It's hard to kind of reach out. Reached out to Carolyn Hardy Chisholm. People so busy. It's like without Michelle, I talk to her regularly, and it's good to talk to someone else that's in the industry. Of course, my wife, she's a mentor. She's on my ass constantly, so, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Keeps me focused. She has good. She's a very successful businesswoman herself. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
she always gives good advice and bounces ideas off of me. Especially coming from the standpoint she's successful. She likes to see things get done, and so when she says things, she might not understand the nuance of what I do, but she also offers, forget the nuance, here's the bottom line, and it helps me to kind of work through the nuance to get to the bottom line, which is great. To have that kind of third eye that doesn't understand the ins and outs of the business, but is involved and understands the business enough to know where I need to be.
Okay.
But how to get there is where that her hard line approach helps me to figure out the best approach of getting to get there, and it's constantly evolving, so it's always good.
Where do you see Mayweather Foods, your business, or the industry that you're in, going in the next 5 years?
I see the industry maintaining itself unless, dietary, trends come back. People are always learning about like gluten-free and stuff, all that. It's always going to be the case. But then just like the non-smoking section in the casino, it's like, it's about the size of that big. You know what I mean? It's like oh, God, when I say it's non-smoking section, like, dude, it's like it's
like a phone booth,
yeah,
right?
you know what I mean? It's never gonna change. You know what I mean? It's gonna be there. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right. So I'm assuming the food industry is gonna be there. So I'm not really worried about it evolving beyond where I'm gonna be out of business. But I see Beneva Mayweather Foods being in more, if not dominating the Memphis market in terms of just presence. We probably be in other regions. I look forward to expanding this facility, creating some jobs, and
I hear that.
if maybe by that 5th year. Because I want to franchise this model then I'm hoping to have multiple Beneva Mayweather foods in inner cities across the country that provide jobs to inner city jobs to inner city, at risk males or someone who just needs an opportunity and doesn't mind, learning this craft, working hard at it, and pushing this fresh product out to other store chains and other relationships.
Okay.
Throughout the country, because I think this model can work in other areas besides just the local Memphis market.
All right. So, Daniel, I believe all entrepreneurs have a superpower. What's yours? May not have a cape, but
Okay. I really think I can analyze people like down to their core. You know what I mean? Especially just in the general public. I think understanding and reaching people and relating to them is just, I got a gift where I see trends, I see where people are. Like with this election, I kind of understand how Trump won because he touched people's souls. He wasn't, he wasn't just a robot. He was, even though he touched souls in a way in which, he touched people at their core.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He touched them at their core and motivated them enough to really, cause the outcome. But I got the ability to really touch people in a way in which I can get them at the pits, and that's my gift.
As a Memphis entrepreneur, there's probably somebody who doesn't reside here in Memphis, right? And they're thinking about taking their idea, Silicon Valley, New York, wherever the case. Make the case for Memphis why they should come here and build that business.
Oh, because look around. We need it. You know what I mean? Like, look, if you're from here, man, look, basically it's nothing but a bunch of James Winfield wallets in this city.
Oh, wow.
And if you understand who James Winfield was and what his wallet was, and you understand that you would need to have that kind of base as a part of your organization. It'll help you out, the energy and the spirit and everything. And plus, we're in the distribution capital of the world. We got land, air, water, access. And we're kind of like centrally located with that kind of level of access. It's a place that there are all other places that are, you got other opportunities. I'm sure you got better, infrastructure. I'm sure you have larger discretionary income through the citizens and everything. We don't this is a matter of just coming here and building and taking on a challenge to turn this into a city that can really be one of the next great cities in America that also has access to distribution points and places where you can really grow beyond this place. Coming here, I mean, if you want to come here, just look at the bottom line. You got water, air, and land access. I mean, you're in a city that it could always grow, even though we can only really expand east and west. East and north, you still can, take advantage of. You got two adjacent states that they're also growing, and they can also, maybe you can take advantage of those, laws or whatever may exist to help build your business. And it's a challenge. It's a place you can go make something great that has, the resources where if everything comes together, if you're great here, then it's only going to be accentuated by the other assets that this city possesses. So
I hear that.
It's you can go to Silicon Valley for tech. I agree, because it's ideal, but and I don't know the tech world well enough to say if we have an environment that is conducive for that kind of growth. But New York, of course, that's the place where, I have a friend of mine told me I can come to New York and make a killing. And even when I spoke with someone that I was trying to do business with here who came from New York, he had said that, what he did in 3 months there, it took him 3 years to get here. And then I'm like, okay, great. But if we seeing, you get business challenges and you get objective, then we have this, world stage, we have an election, we're seeing everyone's emotions, we see Black Lives Matter, we see all these issues. And the South, this is a ground zero for a lot of that stuff. So,
right.
You really, want to try to make the world a better place and try to get beyond that, then you got to come to the, ground zero level. And if you can bring your industry here and you can create an economic environment that can help people out to get through their social issues, then, you very well might be able to make this, help us to get through some of these issues we have. And, nothing better than creating, a place where people can, make a living and provide for their family. Why not pick Memphis? I picked it.
Do you have any current ventures or any promotions or anything you want to put out there? The advertising floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, go check out the product in store. Super Low on Spotswood. Does a lot of volume. I know Goodman and South Haven, they do decent. I got to try to get some more product out there. Cash Saver and Cloverleaf. Miss Cordelia's in Harbortown. Curbside Casserole in East Memphis on Willis behind the Racket Club. Humphrey's Prime Cut Shop next to Folks Folly. Doc's Wine, Spirits, and More. Please go patronize Southern Social and Flight. Ask for the rolls. I provide them there. I don't know how they serve them. I think they're on requests because it's not like I'm doing it a large volume. So I don't think they could really give it out for every customer that comes in. So I think it's just on a request only, which is fine by me. And Miss Cordier's in Harbortown. What did I say? Superload. You got other locations. I'm trying to get the Center Shot back out on the market and more of the convenience stores, but it's a price point deal. I can't really go much lower than what I currently am charging, and they want it lower than that, so that's not going to happen. And also we have Whole Foods, man. I've been working on that deal for like 2 years, going on 3. It'll be 3 years in March. So if we close, it'll be great. Big party, big celebration. We'll be back in Whole Foods, and the Kroger relationship is still there. I just have to get more revenue in place to really get the inventory back on the shelf. But the bread products is also an opportunity to kind of showcase those. So we're just going to continue to grow, man. Y'all ask for the product, Beneva Mayweather, Beneva, Beneva Mayweather, gourmet homemade yeast rolls and yeast cinnamon rolls, center shots, mini pans. And we're going to continue to grow this product and this brand. And if you're interested in possibly becoming a part of the organization, please feel free to reach out to us at mayweatherfoods.com. And I think we have a link, the info at mayweatherfoods.com link or the support at mayweatherfoods.com link. Just email us and we'll try to get back with you and see if we can try to help build this team because we still grinding every single day. We've been at this for now since 2012 I started baking, 2017. So by June it'll be 5 years in the baking side, and we got something going good here, and overall it'll be 8 overall for the actual we're going on 9 now for the actual business itself with the seasonings and everything. So just want to you want to be a part of this organization and you're serious about it, we can sit down and talk, see if we're a good fit, and try to make some things happen so we can grow and scale. And if you're interested in the sales side, let me know. I can send some people out, even though I like to conduct my own deals because I like to kind of push the story. But, if we're going to grow, we're going to grow. I'm going to need people to do that too as well and see if we can make something happen. It needs to be commission-based on that side for a minute.
Make that clear.
Yeah, let's make that clear. I'll cut you a deal off the deal, but you know what I mean? I give you some lunch or something, but it might be a little difficult to give you a little check. And I'm honest about it. That's why I don't have a lot of people working with me now, because if I can't pay you a salary, I'm not going to have you working in here and, man, don't cash your check till next Friday, bro. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not going to do that.
Gotcha.
So,
I got you.
That's it, man. Just appreciate this opportunity, and remember, the sky's the floor. So go see what those stratospheres are talking about.
I hear that. So, and Startup Nation, all that information you'll see there in the show notes. For just really easy click and go to those sites and social media things, whatever. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Dominic. Yes, sir.
Did you like coming on the Startup Life, man?
Yeah, it's all good, brother. Love the questions, love the back and forth. Sorry about that first question. I get into my spiel.
It's all good.
It's all good. Definitely, yeah.
It's all good, man. So thank you so much.
Here's my final take. Daniel Watson is a social entrepreneur, but not in the traditional sense. Now, he'll tell you all day that he's a capitalist, but at the same time, he understands that the platform that his business provides allows him to make the world a better place in his own special way. And if you follow him on social media, you can see that through his Grindomentary. If you want to let us know what you think about the show or like to advertise on our show, send us an email to the address in the show notes. Subscribe to The Startup Life, as it can now be heard on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. Also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Owls LLC. For behind-the-scenes look into what we do at Owls, follow us on Snapchat at Owls LLC. There you will see our creative process and exclusive content. And hey, if you have an idea, be about that life. The Startup Life.